Hi everyone, and welcome back to my weekly training log. The temperatures are on the decline and it's definitely getting colder. There's more snow on the peaks, on the mountains around Kuchan, and definitely signs that winter's on the way. My trusty Salomon Bonatti rain jacket had its final run last week and I've had to lay it to rest, so I had to pick up a new rain jacket along with a couple of other pieces I had my eyes on. I'll go through those new pieces as well as a couple of trusty old pieces later on, but first let's get into the week's training. Now it seems like whenever I do my speed workouts on a Monday, it's kind of overcast and wet, and this Monday was no different. I had a 45-minute progression run on the schedule, and a progression run is where you increase your speed, in my case every kilometre, so as every kilometre ticked by, I reduced my time per kilometre by 10 seconds. I put the call out to a couple of friends to come and join me, and a few of them did turn up, which was great. It's always awesome to run with friends as you can have some great conversations and the time seems to just disappear and the run is over before you even realise it. Now when I met up with the group, I didn't really speak up about what my intended plans were, and it ended up really just being a tempo run. So we ran at kind of a decent pace throughout the whole run. We also had a big range of fitness levels in the run, so for me to go and do a progression at my level may not have suited some other people. So it was okay that we all kind of found a good, comfortable pace and continued on with that. Mondays is usually a harder effort, so whether I did the progression or the tempo run wasn't really an issue for me, and I'm happy I just got some speed work in. Totals were 7.07 kilometres and 6 minute 34 per k, and the total was around 45 minutes. Wednesday was a very chilly run with the Stride Lab crew, but as we got going it turned into a really beautiful morning. It was a really good turnout this week, and we even had a bunch of young kids come along, which was really great to see. At the peak, we were treated to some really awesome sunlight breaking through the clouds, so everyone hung around and grabbed some pictures, and then we headed back to home base. Afterwards, we gathered inside out of the cold and drank coffee and had some snacks. The totals for the day were 4.96 kilometres and about 150 metres of elevation, and the total time was 35 minutes. Now I decided to change it up on Thursday, and so instead of going to Harafu to get in some elevation, we decided on another trail called Kagaminuma near Hanazono. This was a really beautiful autumn themed run, and a couple of friends came along with me. We cruised along a fairly well maintained trail, over some bridges and across some cool creeks, and eventually ended up out at the marshlands. Here you can cruise along the boardwalks that surround a small lake, and it's a really beautiful sight. I learned that there's a small island in this lake and it actually moves around, which is hilarious, so that's a must-see if you come out this way. The return trip was pretty chill as it was mostly downhill, and we took it pretty easy going home. Totals for the run were 4.88 kilometres and around 230 metres of elevation, and it took us around 40 minutes. On Saturday, I decided to go and climb Mount Yote for the first time this year, and it's something I really wanted to do before the season ended. I'll make a separate video on that day out, so make sure you look out for that one. Okay, now that brings us to the gear. I've gathered a few pieces here, both old and new, that I've found really valuable throughout running this year in both summer and winter. For the new pieces, I can't give you much of a review yet as I haven't tried them enough, but I can tell you why I bought them and what is their intended function. Now I don't like the idea of needing the newest and greatest gear to go out and run or hike or race. I know I get sucked into watching YouTube and looking at Instagram and seeing all the new gear and wanting to buy it, but to be absolutely honest, you don't need the latest and greatest. You can get by with some cheaper, still high quality stuff. A lot of the pieces here I bought with the intention to keep for a long time, and the price tag might be a little higher, but they will last 2 or 3 times longer than some of the other pieces out there that might be flashier or marketed more heavily. Everyone's specific needs and budgets are also very different, so what works for me and my size and the activities I'm doing and how much I can afford to buy might not apply to other people out there. Okay, with that, let's jump into it, and we're going to start from top to bottom. The first piece is probably the item I've worn most this year and will continue to wear, and it's this Snake River Brewing trucker hat. A friend bought me this when he went back to the US. It's a Richardson outdoor brand, and Richardson are, I think, a large wholesale hat maker in the US, and you generally can't buy these directly from Richardson, so you probably have to buy it through, say, a brewery or on like a custom hat making website, that kind of thing. And so it might be a bit difficult to find, but this has honestly been the most comfortable running hat I've ever had. It fits my head really well. I don't have a particularly tall ear to the top of my head distance, so it sits really comfortably there. And it also has kind of a nice easy to open clip on the back, which makes adjustment really easy on the fly, which I think is important when you're running around or if the wind picks up up in the mountains. So this has really been the highlight for me. The second piece is another hat, and I wear this pretty frequently. It's a Sealay hat. No doubt you've probably heard of this if you're into your running and running gear, running fashion. It's probably a little taller in the crown area than the Richardson hat, and so it doesn't fit me as well. And also the clasp on the back, while being secure and comfortable, isn't easily adjustable on the fly, so I'm often finding that I've got to take the hat off and adjust it only very slightly, sometimes missing the perfect fit and having to fiddle and go back and forth. Otherwise, it's a decent hat. It's got good structure on the brim, breathable, and it looks pretty cool, so I do like that. But I was pretty suckered in by the marketing and all the other people wearing these. Ultimately happy with it, but definitely not as good as the Richardson. Moving down to like the neck area, I would always recommend having a buff. Now this can work to protect you from the sun or increase warmth in the colder months. You can wear it around your neck, or if you do get too hot, you can put it around your wrist. You can use it as a bit of a towel or a tissue, wipe sweat, anything like that. So very versatile, and I'd highly recommend one. Next on the list is a running shirt, and I've just got a couple of these fairly cheap ones from Salomon. They're just polyester and maybe a bit of elastane. These are great in summer, nice and breathable, and they also work well as kind of an underlayer in winter. The polyester kind of wicks away any moisture into your outer layers. So I think these are like $30 or $40. I found some of them on sale. And they've been lasting a long time, 2 years of pretty constant wear, so that's a good buy. Now the next item on the list is another shirt or set of shirts. I've got two of these, and they're technical shirts by a brand called Nanga, which is a Japanese brand. These are a little warm in the summer, but have been doing me very well as it gets a little bit colder. They're kind of a technical fabric as well, and they're fairly comfortable. They do maintain a little bit of an odour, so I do have to wash them pretty frequently, as opposed to some of the other garments I've got. But other than that, I do like them. Let's move on to running shorts now, and these are the Patagonia Endless Run shorts. Now these have probably been my preferred running short and most comfortable running short I've got. They are kind of like a running tight with a bit of a piece of material over the front. It's a bit of a modesty curtain. They also have these two long pockets down the side of each leg, which allows you to slip gels, phone, keys, GoPro, that kind of thing, as well as a couple of small, just stretchy pockets at the back, which I haven't actually used. These are tight and comfortable, they keep everything in, and yeah, I really enjoy wearing these. The only issue is getting the drawstrings tight. I can never really get them locked down. They kind of loosen up as soon as I try and tie a bit of a bow, so that would be the only issue I have with those. Next is another pair of shorts, and these are Strider Pros, I think, from Patagonia. Again, very, very comfortable, probably on par or, yeah, I'd say equal in comfort to the black Endless Run shorts. These have a zippered pocket on the back, which is handy. I prefer zippers, as you know nothing's going to get out. Even though some of these pockets are kind of tight and snug, things can always get loose if it's not actually closed off. They do have two kind of larger pockets on each side that can fit a phone or something like that. Again, the drawstring is kind of hard to lock down, but they are super, super comfortable. They had a bit of an inner, kind of underwear thing in there, so I just use that. I don't wear anything else with these on, and they're super comfy. No chafing or anything like that. Okay, next we'll move down to the feet of kind of the gear I know well and use, and then I'll jump into some of the newer pieces. On my feet, I've been wearing these, which are Features socks. These are, I think, kind of the elite model or the elite collection, and I think they're the light, not the ultralight. But these are super, super comfortable, form-fitting. I think they're pretty sturdy. Haven't had any issues with them yet. Probably been running in these for about 6 months now. Absolutely no issues. They still look great, and really, really happy with them. I've just bought a couple more pairs. My other favourite socks are by Stance. Stance are a pretty kind of big brand, do a lot of baseball, basketball socks and things like that, and lots of interesting designs on socks as well, which I really kind of dislike. I prefer just the plain blacks or greens or greys. Again, these are super comfortable. They last forever, like a year, year and a half, 2 years maybe. No holes, wearing them all the time. So if you're looking for a good running sock, I would definitely recommend these. These are kind of the running style, and they're a lightweight. They also do an ultra lightweight, which I haven't tried, but these are pretty good for me throughout summer and winter. Okay, moving on to some of the newer pieces I bought, and I've had a chance to try some of these, but not all of them, so I can only really give you some first impressions and the reason why I bought them. The first one is this Patagonia R1 pullover hoodie, and I was looking for a mid layer with a hood that wasn't too heavy and was also quite warm. So this does the trick as far as I can see. It is quite warm, so I would only really wear it on runs when the temperatures were getting down to say 5 degrees or lower. If it's around that 5 degree mark, I could probably wear this on its own if it's not windy, and it breathes particularly well. It's very comfortable. Can use the hood, if you need to keep in a bit of extra warmth. When it does drop down below 5 degrees, say moving down to 0, then I would have to make sure I've got a good layer below and maybe a windbreaker on top. But I do think that in those really cold temperatures, it's going to work really well for me as a mid layer. The next piece is a Patagonia Houdini. Now it's very rustly, so I won't talk while moving it around. The Houdini I bought because I lost my rain jacket last week, as I said, and I needed something to replace that. Now, the Salomon was great in terms of being water resistant, but it was also pretty clammy and could get hot very easily, so I thought instead of trying to find a jacket that, you know, covered all bases, I would get something that was wind resistant and breathable for those days where it was a little bit of wind or light rain. And then I'd probably look at something more like a Gore-Tex Shake Dry or something like that for when I really need something super water resistant, waterproof. So the Houdini has done a good job for me so far in being very packable, water resistant, and, you know, keeping the wind out, helping you maintain a bit of body temperature. It has been a little moist inside once you do kind of a bit harder efforts, so still remains to be seen how breathable it is, but I'll try it out in some more different weather conditions and you know, see if it's going to remain in my rotation. I think it will. Like, it's super packable, versatile. I'll put it through its paces this winter and see how it ends up. Next is a pair of these Patagonia Terrebon joggers. Now, I bought these because I was looking for kind of a longer layer to cover my legs during winter and in the colder months. Now, these joggers are super comfortable. I'm really happy with the fit, and in the colder mornings I've worn them, have managed to, you know, maintain temperature really well. They're fairly breathable, and you know, haven't got too sweaty or clammy inside them, which is a good sign. The issue I have with them is that the pockets don't have zips, so putting anything in there while you're running, you know, isn't very secure. And even as I've been wearing them as a casual pair of pants, you know, my phone will slip out, or my wallet or something like that. So in terms of having like utility and, you know, spaces to store things when you're running, they don't quite live up to expectations there. So that's something that Patagonia could probably address in, you know, a technical pair of pants. Next, we'll look at our hands, and these are some new gloves I bought recently, and I've tried a couple of times. They're Outdoor Research, and I can't remember exactly the model, but there's an inner, kind of a thicker, warmer layer, plus a stowable wind layer, and you can stow this within the zipped compartment in the gloves. So I think I bought them because it gave me a bit of versatility. I think I could run in them across a wider range of temperatures than, say, a really warm glove or a really light glove. And also, if it's wet, you know, I've got a bit of protection. They're not waterproof, but it'll do for, you know, a shortish run. I've been happy with these so far. They fit well, but you know, we'll keep testing them when the snow comes. The last piece of kit I have is not really for running, but I've been wearing it almost every day since I bought it. I've been wanting to buy it for a long time, and it can certainly make up part of your outdoor camping, hiking kit as well, as it's super versatile. This is a Montbell kind of fleecy jacket. I think it uses their Climber Loft material. I think it's actually a Climber Air, so it's a bit lighter than one of the heavier jackets they have. I've wanted to buy this for a long time because we did get them at work for a little while, and it's just so comfortable, super warm for the price. It's about $80 or $90, and yeah, I think it beats out all the other stuff I've tried at that price point, and, you know, for its weight as well. Yeah, as I said, I wear this every day, super comfortable, and I'd recommend trying to get one if you can. I don't know how widely available they are outside Japan, but definitely worth it. Okay, so that's a roundup of some of my favourite pieces of gear, and yeah, let me know if you've used any of this, or if you have any other recommendations for winter running gear down in the comments, and I'll see everyone next week.